The oral cavity contains teeth for chewing. The roof of the mouth is the superior border. It is made of a hard, bony palate formed by the maxilla and palatine bones. The soft palate forms the posterior region to prevent food or drink from going into the nasal cavity. The tongue lies on the bottom of the mouth. Holding the tongue in place is the lingual frenulum, which you can see if you curl your tongue up. On the surface of the tongue are bumps called papillae. These bumps are not taste buds. The taste buds are cells found in the cracks between the papillae. The mandible is the lower jawbone, giving the mouth its shape. A tooth has three main regions. The part we see is the crown, then it tapers down to the neck, and finally the roots which hold the tooth in the alveolar sockets. A tooth has an opaque outer layer called enamel. This is what erodes away by bacteria that feed on the food remnants in your mouth, particularly sugars from carbohydrates. The enamel becomes cementum as it rounds the roots. This fuses with periodontal ligaments holding the teeth in the alveolar sockets of the mandible or maxilla. The inner soft white layer is the dentin, which surrounds a pulp cavity containing a nerve extending up from the root canals of the roots. There are many different types of teeth. Incisors are the front teeth used for cutting. The cuspids or canines are on the sides and is used for holding and tearing and ripping, which is why these teeth in dogs is so important. Bicuspids or premolars, followed by molars in the back, are used for crunching and breaking up the food for swallowing and later digestion. There are 8 incisors, 4 cuspids, 8 bicuspids, and 12 molars for a total of 32 teeth in the adult mouth. The teeth are identified by your dentist by number. The numbering starts with the back upper right molar as number 1 and moves around the top to the left upper side to number 16. Then number 17 is the back lower left and moves around the bottom to the right, ending at number 32 on the back lower right molar. In children, baby teeth are identified by letter, again starting with the back upper right molar as A, moving to the upper left side to J, then K at the back lower left across the bottom to the back lower right, ending at T. The tongue has a tether on the underside that anchors the tongue in the mouth called the lingual frenulum. A short frenulum occurs as a congenital defect in some children. This severely limits the movement of the tongue and makes speech formation difficult, which is the cause for the term tongue-tied. On the surface of the tongue are many, many bumps called papillae. There are a couple of different shapes and sizes depending on where you are looking on the tongue. These are not taste buds. The actual taste buds are found on the sides of the papilla in the cracks in between. The taste buds are actually taste cells. These cells have neurons extending from them to send taste information to the somatosensory cortex in the parietal lobe. There are 3 pair of salivary glands. The parotid glands are located near the ramus of the mandible over the masseter muscle. You can feel those tingle when you think of drinking lemon juice. The sublingual glands are located under the tongue. The submandibular glands are located under the mandible or jawbone. The salivary glands produce saliva, the watery substance in our mouth. Saliva contains chemicals to aid in digestion as well as provide lubrication for dry food like crackers. Saliva is mostly water, which helps to dissolve food with the help from chewing of the food in smaller pieces. The dissolved food molecules can then activate the taste buds. Try to put a piece of candy on a dry tongue and open mouth and let it sit there. Can you taste it? Now just move it around so some saliva gets on the candy. You should be able to taste it now. Food molecules must be dissolved in saliva for us to taste it. Saliva also contains an enzyme called salivary amylase that starts the breakdown of carbohydrates or starches. The effect of this enzyme is not that important in healthy adults, as the pancreas will be the main provider of the enzymes to digest carbohydrates, namely pancreatic amylase. Mucins, or a watery mucus substance, is secreted to help lubricate food and create a food ball called a bolus. Finally, saliva containing bicarbonate to neutralize any acid that is ingested or burped up from the stomach. The salivary glands differ in what they secrete. The parotid glands produce a lot of salivary amylase. You can see the dark pink cell clusters called acini that produce the amylase. The sublingual gland produces mucins and bicarbonate, so their acini are clear, like goblet cells. In this image, you can also see a duct that brings the mucins into the mouth cavity. The submandibular gland is referred to as a mixed gland because it contains both the dark pink amylase acini and the clear mucin-producing acini.